The South African court just sentenced a Zimbabwean family of 3 to life imprisonment and 3 years imprisonment respectively for attempted murder and kidnapping of a young man identified as Dumisani Malango. So Mr. Solomon Malanga, his wife Poppy Malanga and son Enoch Malanga were all charged to court after they kidnapped a young man and amputated his hand in May of 2024. Now, what exactly happened? This young man identified as Dumisani was said to have been returning from somewhere he went to. He decided to use a shortcut which was somewhere around Kromdai Road in extension 16 of Vosmon. On using this shortcut, he passed through the backyard of Mr. Solomon's church, who is said to be a pastor. On seeing this young man drive through the back of the church, Mr. Solomon and his son stopped him. Pointing a gun at him, he alighted from the car to, find out what was going on. They accused him of stealing batteries from their church and some other items. They tied up his hands and legs and forced him into the bush, where they cut out a branch of a tree, placed his both hands on the branch of the tree, and macheted them, like cut off both hands. After they cut off both hands, they abandoned him there and went back to the church. I don't know if they were doing church service, but they abandoned the young man there and went back to continue whatever they were doing. The man kept on screaming and crying for help until a passerby came there. Until a passerby heard him screaming, went to the location, rushed him to the hospital, where they were fortunately able to save his life. They luckily saved his life, but his both hands were gone. So the young man charged this family to court in May of 2024. The matter lasted till the 25th of November 2025, where they were eventually found guilty of kidnapping and attempted murder. Both the pastor and his son Enoch were sentenced to life imprisonment for attempted murder and 3 years imprisonment each for kidnapping, while the pastor's wife, Mrs. Poppy, was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment for kidnapping. I don't know how she played a role or the particular role she played in the whole scene, but she was equally charged for kidnapping and sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. The judge said the reason for this sentencing is to sound as a warning to those committing serious offenses or crimes like this. The prosecuting counsel presented both an album containing the images of the scene where this young man's hands were cut off, backing it up with the oral evidence of the victim. The family of 3 were found guilty because they tried to defend their case, like they gave their own statements, but the courts found it as a mere lie, trying to deny what has happened because all evidence was clear and this victim also testified. So they were found guilty and sentenced. This is just sad, but anyway, the victim and his father were said to have been happy with the decision, though the father said no matter what they do or no matter the judgment they give or pass, it cannot bring back the hands of his son, because at this point he is the one feeding the son and he is the one taking care of the young man's daily needs, since he can't do anything by himself. But however, they are happy with the judgment. The victim in question said he was unable to sleep, knowing fully well that the perpetrators were working freely. But however, now that they've been found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment and 3 years imprisonment respectively, that he's happy. At least he knows that his attackers will spend a very long time in prison. However, what is your take on this story? Drop it under the comment section, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to share. Have a great day.